over at the agency, our job really is to help our clients stand out from the noise. Now, that does involve, of course, lead generation tactics such as SEO and Google Ads and all the traditional things. But the thing that we really like to do and we really like to work with them on improving is how can we make you stand out as an expert in your vertical? Now, the reason we do that is because if you don't, you fall into the trap of always having to compete against the other businesses in what we like to call noise. Now, noise is essential, don't get me wrong, and you still have to play in that game to a degree, but the defining, I suppose, realization is when you can put two businesses parallel next to each other who essentially run the same marketing tactics, and the one that has better trust and rapport and is better positioned as the expert will always have a higher conversion. When we're talking about positioning yourself as an expert, the first thing I want to jump into is, well, the first thing that we covered, right? It's the mindset side of things. Don't worry, forget about the excuses, not interested, okay? So when we're talking about laying the foundations for positioning yourself as the expert, the things that you need to have in line are the following. First and foremost, we've got to have our branding and our messaging clarified. Now, the reason that we go down this step first is because if you don't have these things in line, it makes it essentially impossible to market because you don't know who you're talking to and you don't know what you're talking about. So although you might understand fully what you guys do when you're out on the job, if you don't communicate that, no one else knows. And what we're talking today about, guys, is telling other people. We want to get the message out there. We want to put you on a pedestal. We want to make sure that people understand with clarity what it is you do and why you do it and who you do it for. So you need to have that dialed in. Now, that's something I can't help you with, but I will give you some tips on how you can define those things. My first tip is don't always chase the biggest ticket item in your business because very often that can lead to a poor customer avatar. And if you're not sure about what an avatar is, it's essentially the customer profile that you want to work with. So for example, if you've got, say, a handful of products and services, and you likely will, and some of them have a much higher sale ticket, but when you break that down, that item, you might find that it takes up far too much of your company labor. It takes up far too much time resource. It might take up far too much stress communication. It might take up too much of your callbacks, like whatever it might be. So you need to get real clarity around, okay, well, which products do we actually want to specialize in? Once you've got that message dialed in, and again, I say this all the time, it's really important to niche yourself within a business. If you're a startup business, you'll probably find yourself at the early stages going through this cycle of, well, we just want to do everything because we need the money. Okay, I get it. I've been there myself. That's fine. But please have your receptors opened because once you start the vehicle moving, once you get momentum, inevitably you are going to be able to steer the ship in the direction that you want to take it, which may be towards specific services. It might be towards specific micro niches. It might be towards a specific customer avatar, so on and so forth. So as business owners, take that on board because you can't steer a parked car. And if you're just getting started, sure, throw mud on the wall and see what sticks, but don't fall into the trap of always wanting to target all of those things, because it makes it very, very hard to cast your message and get that clear. So for context, we have loads of clients, right, who have been around for quite a long time. And after getting the vehicle moving, they found themselves, say they're plumbers, and when they started off doing residential or every sort of plumbing they possibly can, now they are strictly into commercial maintenance and they only work with commercial maintenance clients. Or they are plumbers, and after a while, they've just basically focused entirely into block drains and pipe relining. Or they're hot water specialists, and after a while, they've realized that their niche, their sweet spot is in home automation and electrical vehicle charge stations, whatever it might be. The point I'm trying to make is get the vehicle moving, have your receptors on, and figure out where you want to focus your attention if you want to get market impact. It's a nightmare for us when we work with companies and when we're onboarding them and briefing them and putting them through our onboarding process, and we say, hey, who do you want to target? What do you do? What do you specialize in? And they say, well, we want to be the go-to plumber in Sydney. Like, it's a marketing nightmare because it's insanely competitive. There's millions of other people falling into the same trap, and you will essentially become part of the noise. This is YouTube, so please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you're kept up to date with all of these awesome podcasts that we're releasing. There's loads of them. Hit subscribe and get access to our entire back catalogue. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.